Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Tennis Weekly with Joel, Kim, and Chris. On today's Tour Catch-Up, brought to you by Babolat.
Sinner secures the Sunshine Double without dropping a set.
Sabalenka secures Sunshine Double with finals win over Goff.
And we're giving away a Babolat Pure Aero tennis racket.
Kim, Chris, today is the 30th of March, and we are here to catch up on the week in tennis at Tennis Weekly HQ. On today's episode, Sunshine Doubles are the top of the agenda as Jannik Sinner and Aryna Sabalenka added the Miami Open crowns to go with their Indian Wells titles. Jannik Sinner was in scintillating form once again, defeating Jiří Lehečka in straight sets. His incredible record of not dropping a set. The streak is still on. We'll be discussing that. We'll be discussing what his win means for his rivalry with Carlos Alcaraz. Aryna Sabalenka as well completed her own Sunshine Double. She has now achieved the Sunshine Double in both singles and doubles. We'll be getting into that as well. Plus, we are launching our Babolat competition to give one lucky listener a Babolat Pure Aero 98 tennis racket. So definitely stay tuned for that in the second half. Chris has also been chatting to Babolat's Maxime Olejniezak on what goes into making the Babolat Pure Drive. And also, we'll be looking ahead to the clay swing. It is a bumper episode today. We're going to be making some predictions as we look forward to the start of the clay season and, of course, the French Open. This episode is brought to you by Babolat.
And this year, Babolat have unveiled the 9th generation of their iconic spin racket franchise, the Pure Aero.
The Pure Aero has been a staple of top players since its launch 22 years ago, starting with Rafael Nadal in 2004, and now the 9th edition is the racket of choice of World No.1, Carlos Alcaraz.
The Pure Aero is the perfect racket for players looking for maximum spin. The more aerodynamic frame increases racket speed just before impact to generate even more spin.
The Pure Aero range is designed for players who use spin as the ultimate weapon to dominate their opponent. Based on feedback from players around the world, Babolat redesigned the racket to add more control and to improve contact with the ball.
The 9th generation Pure Aero features a new frame that reduces drag by approximately 6% for improved aerodynamics and spin.
To purchase, visit the website babolat.com or go to your nearest Babolat retailer to give the Pure Aero a try today.
And make sure to stay tuned this episode for our exclusive Pure Aero competition, where we'll be giving away a Pure Aero 98 and a Pure Aero backpack, thanks to our sponsor, Babolat.
To make a purchase or enter our competition, all the information you need is in the description.
But first, guys, we have to talk about something that was a little bit of a loose end from last week, because we were on tenterhooks about Dominic Thiem's mystery Monday announcement.
I mean,
tenterhooks and a letdown after, maybe.
all of that. I was refreshing his Instagram throughout the podcast. I was barely paying attention to either of you, just to find out he's playing fantasy tennis with the ATP.
I was expecting so much more.
You thought it was going to be a coach of Tsitsipas's one-handed backhand.
Well, he is coaching Alcaraz, Sinner, and Djokovic just on fantasy tennis, not in real life.
I was like,
are they aware of this?
When I first heard, when I first heard that, I was like, oh boy, this is interesting. And then it was like, oh, it's just fantasy football for tennis by the ATP. And I was like, oh, okay.
I mean, that's a shame because we would have liked it to be something more. And I think a lot of fans got very excited. So it probably hasn't worked out badly for Thiem because now people will want him to coach people. So there's a desire, he might get some more deals out of this. But are you going to take him on at fantasy tennis, Joel?
Oh, I feel like I need to now. I've got all this kind of pent up anger and aggression at being let down by the announcement. Now I want to go take him on. But
you think you can beat his team of Alcaraz, Sinner, and Djokovic?
Well, yeah.
Thiem's team.
You go for Fritz, Lloyd Harris, and one
Jack
other.
Draper.
Jack Draper.
Oh, well, I mean, I'd love to see how he gets on. Maybe it will be the start of a real life coaching relationship beyond the fantasy. He's got to practice it out somehow, hasn't he? But let's see what's caught our attention this week that maybe is slightly more exciting than Thiem's announcement from last week. Joel, what have you got for us?
Well, I saw in the news this week, because we are heading into the clay court swing, and the Madrid Open have announced that they are going to be using Real Madrid's football stadium, the Bernabeu, to install some tennis courts for players to practice on at the Madrid Open. I thought this was very surprising. We don't see a lot of football and tennis crossovers. In fact, whenever I hear these sorts of crossovers, they don't necessarily end all that well. I'm already thinking about Gerard Piqué and Davis Cup. Hopefully, this will go a lot better. But yeah, what do you make of the sound of that? Tennis courts on the football pitch at the Bernabeu Stadium.
Well, are they playing around the court? How's that going to work? There's no football matches on, Joel.
I assume they're not playing at home during that
week. A bit like when you have exams on and then the sports hall becomes an exam hall.
The articles being shared about this, the concept art still leaves a lot to be desired. I'm not quite sure. Is it like the whole football pitch is going to be clay, or is it just going to be a clay court in the middle of the grass court pitch?
But it's just practicing, though. So
what's
the
point?
Yeah,
because it says that fans can't attend, so it's not like they're raising money from this. So
they obviously want Alcaraz in there because Alcaraz is a big Real Madrid fan, but Alcaraz playing in like a soulless stadium with no one in there, it feels a bit of a missed opportunity.
Unless it's like practice matches between the top players, perhaps that's slightly ahead of the tournament starting. I'm not sure.
Is it just to get Alcaraz to play it? Because he doesn't often play. Maybe this is part of his deal. Could be.
Is Alcaraz so famous now that he needs like the ring of a football stadium in order to practice without any interruptions?
Well, I'll tell you what it's giving. It's actually giving Miami like a stadium, a court within a court, isn't it?
Yes.
It's not the best spectacle empty. It's giving COVID US Open vibes, if anything.
The Bernabeu want to steal the tennis from the Caja Magica?
I mean, the Real Madrid footballers are always in attendance at the Caja Magica because they are always going off to watch. So maybe it's like to make it more convenient for them. They can go training and then just watch Alcaraz at their home. But yeah, well, let's see how it pans out in less than a month. We won't have to wait long to see it.
The final thing I will say, Kim, we have both been to the Caja Magica, and it is an old stadium. Like, it is not very...
Yeah,
it's not very new, concrete. Is it? Like, it's not very state of the art if you actually compare it to like the Bernabeu.
My main memories of that stadium is smuggling sandwiches down my sleeves because they're very strict on what food and drink you can bring in.
Kim, you can't confess that on the air.
This was many, many years ago. And
what sort of sandwich was it, Kim?
Well, sort of just a peanut butter one. I was doing it on a budget, and they're obviously catering at these things is often not the cheapest.
A top tip from Kim, bring a baguette to Paris, bring a peanut butter sandwich to the Caja Magica.
And a spare water bottle lid in up your sleeve, because they often, make you take the lids off when you go through. So if you've got a spare
not an option for Francis.
Put it back on again.
Yeah, definitely not an option for TFO.
It's massive.
You'd have to put that, in your belly.
Well, talking of Madrid, Rafa has also been in Madrid. He was awarded an honorary doctorate from the Polytechnic University of Madrid. I think he's already had a few doctorates from other places, but he was recognized by the Faculty of Physical Activity and Sports Sciences, and he went and had a nice little ceremony, which was lovely to see. He's donning a sort of, I thought he looked a bit sort of religious, really. His outfit is sort of like he's getting ready to go to the Vatican or something. I'm not sure if there is
conclave. You think he's heading straight
symbolism.
there?
It just gave me conclave vibes. But I'm probably, that's probably an incorrect comparison. But it's wearing a sort of pale green. That the hat he's wearing, it sort of gives lampshade vibes. If we had to describe it, but it's quite nice, actually. I think it's quite, I've never quite seen a hat like it. Yeah.
It is an interesting one, isn't it? I think I prefer, I think he had a blue one before, and I think that was a bit more becoming.
His colour?
Is he collecting? Because, Kim, as you said, I feel like he's collected so many of these honorary doctorates and qualifications and degrees from universities. Has he now completed the career Grand Slam of honorary doctorates? Yes.
I think he needs Oxford and Cambridge.
Yeah, he's only got Spanish ones, hasn't he, so
far?
Love
to see him. Yeah,
that would be great. Any reason to get Rafa over?
But he has been in the Bahamas with his family as well on a holiday.
Picking up a doctorate there.
Some nice, no, just swimming in the sea and fishing, I think. I've just seen some nice photos. So, but yeah, and that's the latest in Rafa Weekly. Chris, what about yourself? What have you got for us and the listeners?
Well, I mean, talking of retired people, a hot topic over in Miami is the fact that they do have some rather mature ball boys and girls. And I just kind of wanted to bring this up because I love it. I think it's so much fun. Joel's shaking his head, but you got to hit.
So lame.
Do you? I love the idea. They're called the Silver Streaks, the over 55s who do the ball boy and ball girl duties. There's no age limit in Miami, so that's why
the ball man and the ball woman.
It doesn't sound quite as good, does it?
Ball people.
But I can tell you, Joel, you may be shaking your head, but there's been multiple people who have done very well at this. Maureen Olsen is 69 years old. It's her third year doing it. And apparently she even beat some of the younger people at the shuttle runs to qualify. So I think good on her. I quite like this. And I actually think I'm going to recommend it to my parents because they're causing havoc in their retirement. They're selling my things on Facebook Marketplace. And I'd much rather they were chasing a ball at the Miami Open, Kim.
I think this is great. I think it should just be based on ability, not age, so it doesn't matter how old you are. I think what a great way to keep fit, keep agile and nimble for people who are at a later stage of life. I think it's great they've opened it up.
Oh, I don't know.
Are you fighting for is this the opportunities being taken away from the child labour, Joel?
I was actually thinking with like electronic line calling, basically removing line umpires and tennis line judges.
They're retrained line umpires.
Yeah, like it's actually like there's like at least there's like an opportunity for.
I mean, they had it so good when they could just stand there.
They just stand there
of any age to get involved. But honestly, I think this is a bit odd, to be honest. And I know the Miami Open stands out about this, but I
think the US Open let you do it as well, maybe. But
yeah.
Madrid used to get the models, didn't they?
They did.
Glamour.
And they used to have those. They used to trial all sorts of things because they didn't have those like net. There's like tennis net to catch the balls.
In COVID, didn't Rotterdam also have those nets that they were running around catching?
Yeah, so they didn't touch the ball with their hands. But I'm not gonna lie, I can't get on board. I don't know what our listeners
was a
think.
rather nice story. So we'll have to put a poll out.
Yeah.
Would you be for the Silver Streaks? Appearing in other places.
Can you imagine it at Wimbledon?
No.
I think Wimbledon ball kids are like elite.
Yeah, they're selected from local schools, so it'd be a bit weird if a 69-year-old snuck in there. I
mean, also, could you sort of say, is it a bit odd to have older, like if the kid's working closely with adults, like is there sort of
could be a nice exchange of values, Kim. I think I learn a lot from my grandparents.
Safeguarding would need to be in place. But anyway, let's move on to what happened at the end of the Miami Open because we've had two sunshine doubles, haven't we? It's like a London bus. When one comes along, well, you get two instead, two for the price of one, Sinner and Sabalenka. And actually, a summary of our predictions, I think both of you did quite well overall. Joel, you got both the champions correct. So well done. Chris, I think for Miami, you got 6 of 8 quarterfinalists.
Yeah, Chris smashed it on the women's set of quarterfinalists. I did not. Yeah.
Pretty poor, Joel.
I had Naomi Osaka in the quarterfinals.
Zachary as well.
Torsen. Yeah. Less said the better there for me.
Did you have any particularly good ones though that we saw? Because Kim, we didn't have your Miami Open.
No, I missed that one. I think
tactically, I think to try and avoid what Joel coined as the sunshine double spoon of shame.
I think I would have gone to me because I think my Indian Wells ones were not.
It was pretty bad. We did discuss whether you'd get it by default or whether completed predictions would get it. So you can actually decide, Kim. Would you like it, or would you like to pass it on?
I'm happy to take the spoon of shame. Yes, thank you.
I dodged a bullet there.
I feel like I dodged a bit because I said in my bold predictions last week I wasn't sure even if Coco Gauff was going to play.
Right, that's pretty bad.
She went all
the way to the final.
Yeah.
Yes,
I said Venus was going to get a win.
Venus was winning. Yeah, it's going to happen eventually, Chris.
Eventually.
You might need to drop down a level.
I mean, one player who is definitely not getting any spoons of shame is Jannik Sinner, because he has obviously won both Indian Wells and Miami without dropping a set. He's the first male player to do the Sunshine Double without dropping a set, and the first player to win the double since Federer in 2017. He did it this time by beating Yuri Lehechka 6-4, 6-4 in the final. Had to wait a while to get onto court. Rain delayed the start, and they had another delay later on in the match as well. But I think the weather wasn't really going to make any difference. It was always Sinner's to lose, and that he did not do. Very dominant from him. He's now at 17 consecutive Masters 1000 wins, 34 consecutive sets won at Masters 1000. And as he won the title here last year, 12 consecutive wins in Miami specifically. So complete dominance. Were we expecting this from Sinner after, well, I want to say after Indian Wells, I think it looked likely, but he lost in AO, didn't he? Lost in Doha. Has he managed to turn his season around with this dominance out in the States? Joel, tell us your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we all kind of were thinking Sinner was on a little bit of a wobble. It wasn't too long ago we were talking about Jannik Sinner not having a tour title. Now he's got 2 on the trot at the Masters 1000 level, and he is just consistently so good. I mean, his serving performances in Miami were fantastic. His returning performances, particularly in the final as well, was fantastic. Lehechka, one of the reasons he got to the final in the first place was just how dominant he was on serve. But I mean, Sinner made him serve, look very ordinary at times, carved out a lot of break point opportunities. So yeah, Sinner, I think, is in scary good form at the moment, and he is making the most of not having any ranking points to defend yet. It's really exciting. We were talking about Sinner Alcaraz, are we ever going to get those that matchup happen? And I think it's added a little bit more spice to it, because even if you might say Alcaraz is the only player at the moment to beat Jannik Sinner, well, at the moment, Jannik Sinner is playing the best tennis on the tour, and no one's coming anywhere close to him.
I have to say, I did cock up, because obviously Sinner didn't play Miami last year. He was on his ban. So it was the year before he was defending from then. So apologies for that. But yeah, in terms of the pointage, Sinner not having anything to defend, essentially for the next few months, he's got 1,950 points to defend. Alcaraz has 4,300 points to defend. So if Sinner continues in this form, world number 1, do we see it shifting fairly quickly back to Sinner, Chris?
Well, it would have to, really. I think we said that at the end of the year, if Sinner had played during that period where he was suspended, he would have ended the year at number 1, because he would have picked up points. He doesn't go out early. We've seen that before, and clay maybe what some people see as being his weakest surface. It definitely isn't a weak surface for him. He's not weak on any surface at all. So I do think that Sinner's most likely to turn up and potentially, end up as number 1 at some point going into Roland Garros, which could be very interesting. We do know, though, that Alcaraz is very comfortable on the clay. So I don't think it's a foregone conclusion. I think the odds are against Alcaraz, but they have been before, and he still managed to find a way to come out on top. But I mean, I think it's very interesting that, Sinner's absolutely cleaning up at Masters level on hard courts, but he doesn't have a hard court slam title to his name at present, which is very odd, because he's so dominant on the surface. It's just, he didn't get the result in Australia, and he was beaten by Alcaraz in the US Open. So I feel like it's such an odd thing that we've gone from, Sinner picking them up quite easily, to now actually he's doing well on the tour, but maybe not so well at the Grand Slams, which is, maybe that will be a pressure that he'll also feel.
And just a note on Lehechka getting to the final. Is there anything he needs to work on, if he's in this situation again, for him to be able to actually make inroads against the likes of Sinner? Or, I know he has beaten Alcaraz before, but if he finds himself in another Masters final, to have a realistic prospect of winning.
Does anyone have a prospect of winning?
Yeah, I think with Jannik Sinner, I think you've got to take your opportunities. And I think early on in that match against Sinner, he was love 40 up on the Sinner serve, and Sinner again just shut him down. And that is one of the things I was impressed about with Sinner is his composure. He's spoken in an interview about how he doesn't let his emotions go too high or too low. He keeps very level-headed, and I think that really helps him in those moments to focus. So I think from Lehechka's point of view, I mean, he had a great tournament to reach the final. Great on serve. He tried to be aggressive, and I liked the fact that he was coming into the net, but at the same time, it wasn't really working against Sinner. But I mean, Sinner's just playing so well at the moment. Perhaps, yeah, for Lehechka, taking those opportunities and maybe executing his game plan a little bit more, because it wasn't necessarily working, I think, coming to the net.
We didn't always have the best matches, though. I think we've had quite a lot of straightforward matches. You said that Sinner hasn't dropped a set across both of the tournaments, so we've been denied, a top tier clash. Do we feel out in the States? It's been a little bit lacking, or was that too harsh? Do we think?
Well, I mean, you mean between Sinner and Alcaraz specifically? Because we've had some fantastic other matches. I mean, I want to mention the Feast Tommy Paul match, 3 tie breaks in the
that was amazing.
Final. I mean, you don't necessarily always need Sinner and Alcaraz when you're getting other matches delivering. Arguably, best match of the year so far on the ATP tour. Although some people may disagree, they may not like the fact there was no breaks of serve, but it was just pure drama throughout the match.
I mean, do you
very
think
very close?
I mean, just on Sinner, do you think the fact that he hasn't been pushed, to a third set for a while now, and he hasn't got maybe those deep pressure moments, having not having really faced any sort of deep pressure moments recently, do you feel like he's not? Like there's almost that, it's almost like a good problem, but is there that sense that going into the clay swing that he's almost weirdly might be underprepared for, say when he does face Carlos Alcaraz, because he's going to maybe push him to places that recent players have not been able to do, and put him into a position that he hasn't actually experienced for a while, like a third and final deciding set.
With 3 sets, maybe. I think at 5 sets is more interesting because, I mean, obviously Djokovic got the better of him. He looked pretty rattled at times in that match. So I think winning these titles and getting these results is hugely important to him. But it's slams he wants, and he's chasing Alcaraz in the slams. That's what you want to be winning most at. So I think he's got all eyes on Paris. I think these are nice performance indicators, picking up the Sunshine Double, ticking that one off the list. But I think he's got much bigger ambitions. And I think that's when your nerves really can go, when you're playing against your biggest rivals on the biggest stages. And he hasn't had to do that this Sunshine Swing at all.
Mm-hmm. Well, some may say he's got a bit lucky, but others will say you can only play who you've got in front of you, and Alcaraz has not been at the level required. Let's see how that changes in the clay season. But one other player who's done extremely well over the Sunshine Double is Aryna Sabalenka, because she also got the job done, and she's defended her Miami title, dropping just 1 set, which was in the final, to Coco Gauff. She's the first player to do the Sunshine Double, which is
since Iga Swiatek.
Since Swiatek, yeah. So not quite as long as it was since on the men's side.
2022, I think.
Yeah, so only 4 years, but first player to win Miami back-to-back since Barty, 2021. So yeah, I mean, what did you make of Sabalenka and her match against Gauff? Obviously, they haven't played actually since the French Open final of last year. So I think getting, like, I guess getting that out the way a little bit and coming up against her and not obviously letting the result go that same way. But what was it that Sabalenka just continued to do so well in Miami that she was doing, in Indian Wells?
Well, she did actually get a win over the end of season finals. So
sorry, first final they've played.
Yes, first final, correct, exactly. Yeah. So I think that's one of the ones where it really does matter. We talked about that with Sinner just now, that it's about beating your top rivals in those big moments, which is something that she hasn't always been great at. At some of the biggest titles of her career have kind of slipped away from her. So I think she should be very proud of the fact that she did have a bit of a wobbly, Sunshine Double last year when she was playing them both. I mean, she lost to Mira Andreeva. There were moments which looked like she probably should have got that. So I think it really is job done for her. And I think she's looking more and more impressive. And for her, it is just about getting the titles to match the level that she shows on the tour, because she's so dominant. There is no one else who can consistently play as well as she does. Everything's getting better. The serve is getting better. The margins are getting better. And then if she can get the mentality to never go away, I think she is the number one player. I mean, standout, which is very different to what we have, the tug of war on the men's side. We're looking for who is the next competitor. Rybakina obviously has had some great results. Coco Gauff has kind of put herself back into contention once again, which is great to see.
Back up to number 3 as well.
Back up to number 3. She's got some points to defend. So I think it is gearing up to see who the next challenger will be, which is also strange because, there's 4 players who've all got a Grand Slam right now. So it looks like it's wide open as always, but Sabalenka is definitely, she is definitely the world number 1.
Yeah, I mean, this is her most consistent era, if you like. Since Indian Wells last year, she's at 88% win rate, 77% rounded up, sort of win-loss over the top 10. But it's the caveat is those finals where she's not been getting the job done. Like, she's consistently reaching them. I think she's reached 13 finals in the last just over a year, but has, lost 6 of them. So whatever she has been able to do at the Sunshine Double events, she needs to take into the finals going forward. I mean, actually, one thing that has changed, which may have played an influencing factor, is she made a small tweak to her racket to do with the frame of her racket. I think she's not sort of delved into it too much in public, but she has made some changes. So do you think that's had some impact, or even if it's just like a psychological one?
Ooh, interesting. I mean, she's made a tweak there. I don't think she found that from social media like Coco Gauff's been getting help.
Yeah, tell us
that's
more
quite a
about
fun
that.
one. Yeah.
Because Coco Gauff, she got a tweet from a fan with advice, and she credited that for helping her win a match in Miami. And I mean, if you're struggling, maybe Emma Raducanu should.
Oh, she should stay away from social media.
No,
for
she should probably
sure.
stay away.
Yeah,
But
don't
there
read the
might be
comments.
one gem somewhere that
You have to
may
hope,
help.
the
you need
WTA
someone to wade
censorship,
through it
is
for
working for you. Just
Yeah.
show the nice ones. I think
I mean, I was just going to ask, who do you think
should read their tweets? Nobody.
Well, I was going to ask about
Yeah.
Sabalenka and Jannik Sinner. They've both won the Sunshine Double. Which run have you been more impressed with? Because I feel like Sabalenka has answered her critics perhaps more with some of the matches that she's been given, like even Rybakina and Goff back to back in Miami.
Yeah.
But at the same time, though, Sinner's not dropped a set and has been a model of ruthlessness. Who have you been impressed by more with their Sunshine Double run?
For me, Sabalenka, because she's beaten her, closest rivals, whereas Sinner hasn't had to get over the Alcaraz or even like Djokovic, for example. So I think I'd go Sabalenka, even though it is more common that happens.
Even though she has dropped a set.
Tour. Yeah,
Yeah.
a set, just one set, Joel.
Yeah, it's
Well,
actually more impressive that
I
she
was
won
gonna
from that
say-
situation, right?
I was
Given
going
what's
to
happened
say,
before.
I mean, Coco Gauff did push her. I thought Anne Lee early on in the tournament pushed her
That
really
tie
close
break.
as well. Yeah.
Kim, you were glued to your screen for that one, but
Ali,
I probably would say the same. I think that Sabalenka coming through and winning both. I also think the fact that she is now the only person, the only player to have done the Sunshine Double in singles and doubles, which I think is obviously huge. That's a bit of history for her there.
Yeah.
And I just think that's something to be, commended, that, she's completed a set that no one has done yet. So that's very impressive. But I will say to Sinner, we'll give him his flowers, the fact that there was not great form coming into this, and it feels like he's really got his mojo back. So I think that's also something that, you should take note of, that's not always easy to find your form, and he's done it impeccably.
I think with Sinner, I think with Sabalenka, as you said, Chris, that she's so dominant at the moment that I do think it ups the stakes when it comes to Grand Slams, because it doesn't feel like there are many natural rivals to her at the moment, but everyone is going to be looking at the Grand Slams to see if she can really kind of
Well, she's her biggest rival, really, isn't she?
Yeah, exactly. So I think, there's still a lot to go. And although these are kind of great signs, you got to make it matter when it you got to make it matter when it counts most. with the 4 Grand Slams, and Sabalenka didn't really do that last year. So, she's in good form. But I feel like she's back in the same position, but she's got to make it count.
And just before we go to a break, I wanted to mention about Iga Swiatek, who obviously we discussed last week. She went out early in Miami, losing to Joel's favorite Magda Linette. But there are rumors that she is going to be teaming up with Francisco Roig, who has most recently been working with Emma Raducanu for a trial period, and most notably was one of Rafa's coaches during his career. So according to, I think, a Polish press, Swiatek is going to be heading to Rafa's academy in Mallorca for a bit of a trial run with Roig. So I'm quite excited to see if this, partnership can deliver, because, she's such a big Rafa fan. I think it'll be quite a big thing for her to be working with one of his ex-coaches.
We should insert a clip of Joel suggesting this last week.
Yes.
Isn't this exactly what you said?
I think, the dynamic that Roy had with Raducanu wasn't working, because I feel like he was trying to insert a game style on Raducanu that obviously she did not want to play, but it was a game style that to me sounded like tailor-made to what Iga Swiatek is best at. So I think there is kind of a natural partnership there, and I think that's good, because I think Iga Swiatek's going to need to hit the ground running. She's got a little bit of time off because she went out early in Miami, but because the clay season is such a, it's a big moment for her. In the past, she's looked invincible on this surface. So I think she's looking for someone who can help her click back straight away. And I think Francisco Roy, with, experience and caliber he has, I think he could possibly do that.
He's very big at cutting down the unforced errors. I think Raducanu wanted to hit bigger. I think Swiatek needs to rein it in a bit at the moment. So I think it will be a good match. And I was going to say, guys, shall I pop over there? Because I'm in Mallorca next week. Shall I see if I can get some scoop on what's happening with Swiatek over at the Rafa Academy? Kim, something I should do?
Absolutely. I think you should definitely add it to your list. But I think you're playing tennis yourself at a rival academy.
A different academy, yes. So maybe I'll be banned from entering.
Is Magda Linette going to be there?
The Magda Linette Academy is where I will be training, indeed, yes. She's working with another one of Raducanu's ex-coaches.
Very jealous you're having a nice week in Mallorca next week, but we'll be taking a quick break now. Do join us in the second half, where we'll be discussing what's harder to achieve in tennis, the Sunshine Double or capturing a Grand Slam title. We'll be giving away a Babolat Pure Aero and backpack as well, worth £340 as part of our Babolat competition. And when we come back, Chris will be chatting with Maxime from Babolat, so do not go anywhere.
Welcome back to the Tennis Weekly podcast. And now, listeners, we are joined by our partner, Babolat. And this year, Babolat have launched the 9th generation of their best-selling Pure Aero racket, the racket of choice for World No.1 Carlos Alcaraz, Felix Auger-Aliassime and Arthur Fils. Joining us today to tell us more is Maxime Olejniezak from the racket development team at Babolat, and one of the people behind the Pure Aero's 9th 2026 update. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here with you and talk about tennis together. And in this case, especially about the new Pure Aero Gen 9. So it's a pleasure.
And before we get into the racket side of things, we always have to check what sort of a tennis fan are you? So I'll put you on the spot here and I'll ask you, who were you most a fan of growing up watching tennis?
Obviously, I am a huge fan of tennis. Thanks to or because of, I don't know, my father and my brother, honestly. And about players, I don't think if I am a fan of only one player. I think it's more about phases. When I was young, I think I was fan of Andre Agassi, and I think I was influenced by my brother. But then starting in 2000s, it's more Rafa, obviously, and more recently, it was more Dominic Thiem for me. Dominic Thiem, it was special for me because Dominic played with the Pure Strike, and the Pure Strike was my first racket I worked on at Babolat. So endorsed by Dominic, and I like the player, his attitude on court. I like the fact that it was an outsider during the Big Three period.
Hmm.
He managed to beat them one by one, and at the end, he succeeded to win one Grand Slam in 2020. So yes, more recently it was Dominic Thiem for me. Yes.
Well, we are big Dominic Thiem fans as well. I think he always comes across as such a nice guy, such a joy to watch. And I actually didn't
Yeah.
know that he was a pure strike user. So I
Yeah.
have learned something. Was he always playing with the pure strike?
Yeah. Always. And I think that the racket was perfect for him because with a long swing, he was looking for a huge level of control, and this kind of racket was perfect for him. And with a one backhand for like me, so maybe it's another stuff. But yeah, it's a very nice guy, and I had the chance to meet them to meet him in Austria for
Hmm.
a playtest, and it was very a unique moment with him. So yeah.
He's got to be top of your list then in terms of your favorites then. But any matches you remember or tennis memories that you have from growing up in particular? Is there one thing that sort of stands out to you?
I'm not sure, but maybe it's more recently the French Open final in 2019 between Rafa and Dominic.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, and it was I was in the stadium, and it was a great finals. Two Babolat players, obviously,
I was about to say,
but
do you have to say those players? Are you contractually obliged?
yeah, I think this match, if I have to keep in mind only one match, it's this final of this French Open in 2019. Yeah,
So that was a battle of the pure Aero versus the pure strike in that final.
exactly.
Yes.
But and Rafa is Rafa, and he won.
Yeah, of course he did. I mean, it wasn't necessarily always the closest finals in the French Open when he won.
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
mean, I have to confess that I'm a pure drive user myself. My partner uses the pure Aero, and I think that's because I like a bit more power. I need the help when it comes to getting a bit more power, and I hit pretty flat. But the pure Aero, I understand, is a bit more of a spin racket. Is that correct? And kind of what sort of player does the pure Aero kind of suit best? I mean,
Yeah,
apart from Rafa.
yeah, you're right, and it's funny because um, I think we have the same tennis profile. So because I like a bit of extra power, pop on serve, and I I hit pretty flat as well,
Hmm.
and I am a pure drive player. So it's very funny. And you're right. The pure aero provides spin, and the racket is designed to swing faster, and is dedicated to puncher, aggressive baseliner, looking for spin to open the court and to push back their opponent. So the main benefit of the racket is spin, and the idea is most of the player using the pure aero generate their own power, and they need a racket to provide a bit more control. So they use spin with the ball rotation to secure the trajectory, and it's a way to have a bit more control. But in your case, I think if you are comfortable with the pure drive, you can keep the pure drive.
Hmm.
But if you want to try new sensation, a new way to play, you can try the pure aero, and let's see. But
A lot of the players that do use the pure aero, they do well on clay. Is that because that
yes,
extra top spin is particularly
yes,
effective?
exactly. Yeah. I agree with you. The surface on clay court is perfect to increase the ball rotation just after the bounce.
Hmm.
So yeah, most of them, and especially thanks to Rafa at the beginning of 2000s, we know on clay court sometimes players prefer a pure aero to increase the bounce of balls, and so way to dominate your opponent. Yeah.
So then a bit of a nerdy question here. I've been known to ask people about kind of string tensions before, but I'm going to ask you more about like the custom specs that players have for the rackets. We do hear these stories of, modifications that players make. Are there any sort of examples of that you've worked on, or, does Carlos play off the shelf? Did Rafa play off the shelf?
Yeah, so you're right. Most of the pro players, because we are talking about pro players. I think for club players it's different, but pro players obviously customize their racket, the specification of the racket, and we customize their rackets to according to their needs to suit their tennis style the most. We work with them to well understand their evolution, their needs, and to guide them as well to improve their game. And I think we can notice an evolution. And for example, I think 10 years ago, players played with very heavy rackets, more than 330 grams unstrung rackets, and adding a lot of tape to increase the swing weight of the racket. And the idea is to increase the swing weight and to make the racket very powerful. But today, and we see the trend, today players are stronger, more athletics, and they generate their own power. So on court, the game is faster, and they want to play faster. So today they are more looking for maneuverability than powerful. So in terms of customization, specification, some players add weight on the racket, but not too much, like in the past. And for example, if we take the case of Carlos Alcaraz, Carlos used a pure Aero 98, and the standard weight of the racket it's 305 grams. The racket of Carlos is just 312 grams. We add for Carlos only 7 more grams on the racket. It's not huge. If we compare to, for example, Rafa and Nadal, Rafa, it was 317. It's 10, so it's very more, and it's very interesting to see, for example, the difference between Rafa and Carlos. If I take the racket here, the weight for Rafa, it was on the head of the racket, very on the top of the racket. To increase the swing weight, it to have very more power. Carlos, the weight is just here at the middle of the racket. So the 7 grams are only on the shaft of the racket. The idea is to have a more heavier racket, keeping the same balance. And the idea, once again, is to keep a very maneuverable racket to swing faster. So we can see the difference and the trend between players like Rafa and Carlos today.
So then how much do those differences kind of impact the development of the rackets when it comes to what players are looking for? How does that factor into the process? Because I know that you sit across a lot of the process of the development. How much do the players also help kind of drive the innovation that happens at Babolat?
For the starting point is, for each new development, we analyze the evolution of the game, and we conduct some interviews with coaches, club players, pro players, former pro players as well, to understand what we could improve on our product. Then our engineers work on some prototypes, some evolution of the racket, and we organize different playtests in the world, in US, in Europe, in Asia, for example. And if I take the Pure Aero project, for example, at the end, it was 1 year to develop the new one. And we test the racket with more than 130 players around.
Wow.
Yes, some in US, some in Europe, and in Asia as well. So yes.
Very much involved in the process. Yeah. So I guess that's also a question would be, a lot of players, and you see kind of stories about this where they don't necessarily want to switch from the 8th generation to the 10th or whatever it might be. But it seems like with the Babolat rackets, people do, use the upgrades, and each time it does get better. What are some of the differences between the 8th generation in this case and the 9th generation?
The main difference is the shape of the racket. The idea is we already have a spin machine with Pure Aero Gen 8, and the idea is to increase the level of spin of the racket. So for that, we analyzed the racket trajectory,
Mm-hmm.
and we know there is a link between the racket vertical velocity and the ball rotation. If you increase the racket vertical speed, you increase the ball rotation.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the starting point. The second point is we analyze as well the swing of the player. And we know there is a key moment just before the impact when players accelerate their movement.
Mm-hmm.
And for that, if we want to increase the aerodynamic of the racket, we needed to optimize the frame during this moment just before the impact. So the main difference is the shape of the racket. And as you can see, the shape of the new one is thinner than the Gen 8
Uh-huh.
to swing faster. The idea is to, thanks, the new frame is more aerodynamic.
Mm-hmm.
And if we have a more aerodynamic frame, you can swing faster, you increase your racket vertical speed, and you generate more spin at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the main difference between the Gen 8 and the Gen 9. And about players and about benefits. So as I said, the main benefit is more spin. And the second one is, and this is a feedback we had during the playtest, players said, I feel I can swing faster. I feel I have more spin, more rotation,
Mm-hmm.
and I have a little bit more control. I can hit the ball even harder. My ball will stay in the court. So this is the main feedback from players doing the playtest.
I mean, that is everything that you'd want, really, isn't it? From
Yeah.
feedback, it means it's definitely doing its job. I was going to say,
Yeah.
listeners, you do need to watch this video because we are getting a full tutorial. We're seeing both rackets. We're seeing where those points are, where they added the additional weight as well. So do make sure you check this out on YouTube. I was going to ask another question because I know that what Babolat always do when there's a racket, there is always kind of the products that go with that. Is there a full range attached to this edition of the Pure Aero?
Yeah, the idea is to have a full dedicated offer for each typology of player. And even in the range, we have different models. The Pure Aero 98 for puncher, aggressive baseliner, like Carlos, Arthur Fils, playing so well.
Really good in Miami,
this
yeah.
week. Yeah. And so we have the Pure Aero 98 with a smaller head size. We have as well the Pure Aero 100, the reference today. And we have lighter models, Pure Aero Team, Light, Super Light. The main difference between the Pure Aero 100 and the Pure Aero lighter models is the string pattern. We have the same string pattern, 16 by 19, but on lighter models like the Pure Aero Team, the string pattern is more open. The idea is to help players to have deeper shots on court and to increase the trajectory. So that's it about rackets, but obviously the idea is to have a full dedicated offer with shoes, backpack, racket holders, all tennis accessories for players looking for spin, and with all fan of Carlos and the other players using the Pure Aero. So yeah, it's not just a racket, it's a full range.
Full range. And I believe that we have a competition as well that we'll be announcing more details of later in the episode, where you can win a 98 version of the racket as well as the backpack. So someone will be very kitted up and will be enjoying all of those benefits. And so if you're not the lucky winner of the competition, then you're able to get your hands on the new Pure Aero at the Babolat website. That's babolat.com, or you can go to your nearest Babolat retailer. And if you'd like to demo, all retailers will have the rackets to support player testing. So head to your nearest location and give the Pure Aero a try. I feel like I've had a fantastic lesson in understanding how rackets work, as well as maybe shifting from my pure drive preference. But before we leave, we do always have to ask a question. In case you haven't realized, we are a British podcast. And so the most important question isn't about rackets. It's actually, Maxime, how do you take your tea?
It's a tough question. I prefer hot tea with a slice of lemon. Maybe it's strange, I don't know, but it's my favorite way to take my tea.
You can have that just like your rackets. You're allowed to customize your tea. But thank you so much for joining us, Maxine. And yes, we look forward to seeing the players playing with the pure Aero.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to exchange with you.
I remember that match. I think 2019, was it the French Open final that he mentioned as his favorite match? I think, yeah, it was obviously one of mine as well with the right result.
That was peak Dominic Thiem, I feel, that era.
It was. But, you know, he at least got his slam in the end, just not maybe the one we thought he was going to get.
Yeah, that's true. And also, I mean, Dominic Thiem is getting many mentions on the podcast still.
He's still going.
He is still going. And I'm not sure that his, pure strike racket will be helping him with his, ATP fantasy coaching. But what we can do is we can actually announce the competition now. And we actually are giving away one of the 9th generation Pure Aero 98 rackets to a lucky listener, thanks to Babolat. This is a package that comes with a backpack and is worth £340. So it is well worth winning. And I'm sure you're all sold on the specs of the racket and just how great it will be from a spin perspective. So if you want to enter, have a chance to win the backpack and the racket, head to our Instagram page, follow Babolat UK as well as Tennis Weekly, and tag a friend in our competition post. Entries for the competition will close at midnight on the 5th of April, and the winner will be announced on our next episode on the 6th of April. So get those entries in for a chance, to play like Rafa, pick up Rafa's racket, Alcaraz's racket, big shoes to fill.
Yeah, it might transform your game.
Does that mean I'm going to play with extreme heavy topspin?
Yeah, you've got to get to the ball first, though, Joel.
There are other factors that
there might be a challenge there. Yeah, you look the part.
I'll look the part.
What a great package to win. So yeah, do enter, and good luck to everyone entering as well. And Joel, I think we are over to you for par for the courts for us and our listeners. What have you got in store for us today?
Yes, that is true, and I feel like maybe you could both guess what the subject for Par for the Courts is. But before we do that, I enjoyed you teaming up so much last week. You're going to be teaming up again this week. And my subject for you is, surprise, surprise, Sunshine Double related.
Ooh.
It's not players Jannik Sinner beat, is it?
It is no.
Too much attention to that.
I did look at all the players that Sinner has defeated in straight sets on his streak, but I'm not going to give you that. I am going to give you though the topic, which is there are 13 players who have won the Sunshine Double of Indian Wells and Miami in the same year, male and female. And I would like you to name as many as you can between you. I will encourage double pointer answers. And I also do have a clue on offer. I'm going to tell you the clue actually this time, and you're going to tell me if you want it or not. But if you do accept the clue, I will put the par score higher.
Did we win last week, Kim?
We didn't go for the clue.
We won without the clue
last week. Yeah,
I think we're a bit overconfident.
Yeah.
So I will tell you what the clue is, and you can decide if you want it or not. The clue is I can give you the years that these players.
Do you think that's going to help us?
I don't think that will help me that much.
I don't think it will either.
The Sunshine Double. Okay,
is this from like the start of the ATP tour?
Is this ever?
This is ever. But it's sort of from the 90s onwards.
Okay. Right, well, there we go. We don't need that clue.
Thank you.
We're ready. What's par? Come on, we're going to do this.
13, and I set par criminally low last week, so I'm going to go a bit higher this week and say I'm going to say 8.
We have got 2 already, we'd hope. So I think 8 seems doable, Kim.
8 out of 13. Yeah, let's go for it.
Should we reel off a double?
Okay. So first of all, are we saying the obvious?
I think we should.
Jannik Sinner.
Sabalenka.
Oh, and Sabalenka. Yeah.
Sorry, I was like double pointer answer.
I was like, we're all waiting for you, Kim.
That is correct. Yes, 2 points, 2 on the board.
We have
Sinner
actually
and
mentioned
We've mentioned Federer
Federer and Iga.
and Iga Swiatek.
Both correct. Yes, another double pointer.
Djokovic.
That's 4 correct
Djokovic
answers.
must have done
Yeah,
it.
he's done it. I
Yeah.
think maybe more than once.
Already halfway there. So Novak Djokovic is also correct. Very good. I think he's done it 4 times. Which is
Blimey.
Really?
incredible. Yeah.
I mean, Serena didn't play Indian Wells very much, so I don't think she's
not top of my list right now.
would have done it. No.
I'm going to
Would it
go
be-
Azarenka definitely did it. And then
Oh,
she went on
okay.
mat leave immediately afterwards.
Right.
That is correct. Very good. Victoria Azarenka is a correct answer. So that is 6 so far. I think
Well,
you've got
I'm
2
100%
more.
About
sure.
Agassi or
Agassi, yes. Agassi, definitely. Sampras, definitely.
Agassi and Sampras as a double pointer.
Wait, how confident are we? Oh, do it. We don't mind.
Oh, go on. They
Live
were
a
the
little.
dominant, both
To
Americans.
reach
Why
half of the
are we
courts.
giving double answers for the Sunshine Double? I quite like that as a theme. Yeah.
Agassi and Sampras is correct. Very good.
Oh.
You have hit half of the courts. I
I
feel like
think
in record time.
We
Oh,
might
well
do
done.
better than this because Kim
Um,
Clijsters, I know, won it when she did one of her comebacks. It was hugely impressive.
That is very good. Do you
but
want
I
to
had
tell
to
me?
get-
Can you tell me what year? Can you remember what year that was?
2006? No. That's
would
too
it,
forget.
would it be
2000
7?
2005.
Five.
2005 was Kim Clijsters.
Steffi Graf
yes.
has done it multiple times.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah.
I'm
can't
not
forget-
great on the men for this
Sellers?
one.
Can't
Would
forget
Sellers have done-
Steffi Graf,
No.
1994, 1996.
I-
There are a couple names left. They're just male names now.
Oh, okay.
And
so
there are
Serena
3
didn't do it.
answers
Interesting.
left. Yeah, there were a few red
Rafa
herrings
didn't.
in there.
No.
What about Roddick or someone like that? Or
Roddick's
Nope.
not a bad shout. Oh, no, that's a no.
Andy Roddick.
Could you give us all of the 90s?
There wouldn't be anyone in the big 3. Did Andy Murray? No, he wouldn't. No.
I'll give you one clue. They are all in the 90s.
Oh, okay.
That's
Michael Chang?
Kim, very good. Michael Chang is
Sorry,
correct.
Kim.
Learner
As soon
Tien's
as the
coach,
game's over,
I
she brings
know.
out her best answers.
1992, and there's 2 more answers.
I've not paid enough
I'm
attention to
not
this in the
giving
media.
Any more clues?
Boris Becker? No.
Nope. So
I think I'm out. Tell us.
You're out.
Richard
Okay.
Krajicek, Ivanisevic.
She's just
So-
saying names now.
Kim.
Henman.
Henman.
So the women, it was Sabalenka, Swiatek, Azarenka, Clijsters, and Steffi Graf. And for the men, it was Roger Federer, Novak Djokovic, Andre Agassi, Pete Sampras, Michael Chang, another American in 1991.
Jim Courier.
Jim
Oh,
Courier.
Courier.
Jim Courier. Very good. Very good, listeners, if you got that correct. And the final one, and I think this was probably the hardest name on the board, so very well done to any of our listeners who got this. 1998, Marcelo Rios.
Oh, wow.
Not sure I would have got
Rios.
that.
Yeah. So there you go.
Um,
There you go. That's your lot.
Goodness. Well,
Blimey. Thank you.
that was actually more fun than I thought it was going to be.
Listeners, let us know how you did.
Did you give answers as doubles as well, listeners?
Quite a lot of it happened quite a lot in the 90s. Like, I feel like it's really hard to win the Sunshine Double, but actually, like back in the 90s, it was
was
I feel
happening
like a
all
little
the
bit more
time.
I also think
commonplace.
people maybe don't always play both now. It's kind of what we've realised as well. You know.
Well, Graham has very conveniently got in touch with us on email to ask us, well, kind of like a similar related question. He said, "Hi guys, with Sinner and Sabalenka both completing the Sunshine Double this season, I wanted to ask, which do you think is harder to achieve in tennis? Winning the Sunshine Double or capturing a Grand Slam title?"
Ooh,
We've
good
never been asked this before.
question.
That's a really good question. Thank you, Graham, for getting in touch. Something to mull over. Chris, what do you think? I'm going to come to you first.
I would say, given how few players have done it, it clearly is quite an achievement. And I think the exercise we've just done has made me really realize that some big names never did it. Obviously, for Serena, that was for some other reasons, but she did play it multiple times early in her career as well as later on. It didn't happen for her, but it's an elite group that have been able to do it. And I think it does really take something to win matches back to back like that. I think it would be 12 matches, consecutive matches you'd have to win, assuming you're not a qualifier coming through to win one of them and whatever might be happening. So I'd say like it probably is like winning 2 slams in terms of some of the numbers involved with it. But then I probably would say when it comes to the actual feeling of what you get, I mean, it's not a slam that you get at the end of it. You get 1,000 points for one, you get 2,000 if you win a slam. So if you win them both, you get the equivalent of a slam. So I think it's probably similar in terms of difficulty, but I actually think you can't really say that it's easier than winning a slam because that's a whole different pressure.
It's 12 matches, but over like 4 weeks as well. So
Raducanu won 10 to win the US Open, didn't she? Yeah, she's not far off.
Yeah. I mean, Joel, what do you think?
I think capturing a Grand Slam title is harder. I think it's best of 5 sets tennis. I think everyone
for the men, not for the women.
Oh, well, sorry, yes.
So I suppose there is a difference in our answers, maybe.
But I think obviously for both men and women, I think motivation is perhaps higher. You know, this is the reason people get into tennis, I would say, is to win a Grand Slam title, not necessarily
not a Strava. A Strava
well,
250.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But you know, that is the pinnacle of the sport, and I think everyone is going into there hoping to bring, you know, their best or their A game. And as much as I would love to feel that with the Sunshine Double, I don't necessarily think it's as high on the agenda for every single player. We also don't know if everyone, you know, is gonna play them.
I'm thinking, Joel, like, you know, Rafa never did it. That's huge. Serena never did. Martina Hingis, Monica Seles, you know, with so many of these top players never did it, which is making me think it might be harder, but obviously it's not the same accolade.
Do people care? Like, I'm always like, do people care? Because I know we talk about the Sunshine Double. Is this just like a marketing term for?
But Joel, the question from Graham, which is harder to achieve? So that's where I'm like, you get 4 shots a year to win a slam, and you've got to win 2 tournaments back to back. So, Kim, you need to decide. We're on the fence.
There's more slam winners than Sunshine Double winners.
That is a good point,
like
Kim.
you said, there's 4 chances per year to win a slam.
We couldn't do that in par for the course.
7
slam winners
versus 12. So in a way, I think you've got to keep your consistency up for long. You can't just have a flash in the pan, sort of 2 weeks. You've got to do that twice over. You might not have a bye in the first round if you're
that's
not
true.
a top seed. Conditions can be quite grueling still. In a way, I am leaning towards a Sunshine Double just in terms of, I don't know though. It depends.
It's tricky. It is tricky, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's much for muchness, which sounds like I'm sat on the fence again, but
I understand what you're saying. I also think that when it comes to the 3-set format for men, that actually probably is a bit harder, right?
Yeah.
Because it's
the
easier.
Players that can gruel out and know they've got their reserves for the 5 sets, like,
you know, Alcaraz, I feel,
vulnerable.
would favor the 5-set format.
Yeah.
So maybe we're saying it's harder dependent on who you are.
Yeah, lots of factors influencing this.
But we haven't given you a very clear answer, Graham. So if we had to say one answer, each of us, which one's harder?
Sunshine Double, but I think obviously people are going to focus their efforts on the Grand Slam.
I'm going to say Sunshine Double's harder.
I'm going to say the Grand Slam's harder for the men, but Sunshine Double harder for the women?
We have an answer. Yeah.
Okay, well,
we have answered that question.
Split across the board there. Thank you very much, Graham. Do keep them coming. We want to.
We'll try and answer them.
Have a bit of a ponder, and we'll do our best. But talking about Sunshine Double, well, we need to sort of put that to bed now for another year because we are onto the clay. Clay begins this week. We've got Charleston, Bogota, Houston, Bucharest, and Marrakesh. So loads of clay happening. And we're going to make a little fun set of predictions for the clay season. Not going to go into every single clay event, just the main masters and obviously Roland Garros, and just think about who's going to do well and maybe who's not going to have such great clay season. Are you ready? Have you put some thought into your predictions, both of you?
But maybe too much thought.
Go to Chris first. I need as much time as possible.
He's going to wing it.
Right. Okay. Who's your one to beat in the clay season? I guess, ideally a man and a woman cover both tours. But who are you watching mostly?
Well, Sebastian Baez for me is the obvious answer for this one. But if I can't say him, I'll say Alcaraz. And I do think the one to beat's got to be Sabalenka. I really do think she's going to have a great shot at doing not just the Sunshine Double, but maybe the Channel Slam. Could be interesting.
Oh, okay. We're going onto the grass as
well. Yeah, sorry,
now.
we're on the clay. I'm on the stick to the surface. I also put Coco Gauff, I did say, because she's so great on clay, so consistent in the numbers.
French
and the
Open
defending champion. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's so hard to defend a slam, though, isn't it?
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, on recent form, I'm sticking with Sinner. I think as well the disappointment of last year. I think he did so well to turn that around and win Wimbledon. I think he's going to kind of mentally do that again and get his Roland Garros title.
Oh, and the Grand Slam with it. Career Grand Slam.
And the career Grand Slam with it. Yeah. And then I think for the ladies, obviously Sabalenka in terms of consistency, but it's really hard, I think, with the ladies, because I don't have full confidence Sabalenka would win the French, but I think she could pick up a couple of the Masters.
Joel?
TBC on that one. Joel?
I've got to be boring and just go Sinner and Sabalenka. They've proven it at the Sunshine Double. Their games are very good, moving from hard to clay. So I think they're just going to carry that form through, and I think they're going to be the two to beat. Along with Fran Cerundolo. If Chris has got Sebastian Baez, I've got to go for Cerundolo.
We're more partial to an Argentinian than Aryna at this point.
I'll go for Darderi while we're at it.
Oh yes.
Yes.
What about ones to kind of watch, like new faces? Or anyone in particular?
I was just thinking, I've not really gone for new faces for ones to watch.
Okay. Or old faces. Any surprises? Dark horses. Let's lump this in with dark horses.
Well, I went ones to watch. I said all eyes are going to be on Iga to see how she responds again. I think that'll be very interesting. And I also said ones to watch, but I'll be watching Gael Monfils play his final clay season. I'm hoping we get a night session on Chatrier. So I think that's where some of the fireworks will be, is kind of the question marks as well as the send-offs and goodbyes. I think that's where the real excitement will be.
I mean, I've put, dare I say Fonseca to see
I don't think you should be allowed to say his name,
he does
Kim.
Something. Maybe he'll do something really sporting and Laureus worthy.
Oh, maybe he'll win the Laureus Award in Madrid.
Maybe he'll win
where it happens, yeah.
And then
that'll be a dark horse win for sure.
Yeah, I've also put Eva Jovic. I mean, she's sort of on my watch list for the year. Talia Gibson had a great, recent few weeks. So could we get surprise names like her, Hailey Baptiste? I feel like there's some emerging names out there. But I've also put Djokovic because he'd got to the final of the AO. So what is he going to bring at Roland Garros?
Well, we've not seen much from him, have we? There's always a question mark,
but. He's always there. We can't count him out. Joel?
I've gone Daniil Medvedev. I think he's had a pretty good, last few months on the tour.
Is this in a Klaverdev capacity? Is this a positive or a negative?
Yeah, he's getting back to his old self, but his form, I was looking at his clay form over the last few seasons. It's obviously not been, it's been quite up and down. It's been quite unpredictable. So that's why I've got my eyes on Medvedev, because I think maybe he could do something this
Never dull, is it? I mean, sometimes he wins Rome and other times he has a Lacoste Roland Garros collab that goes out in round one and ends up in the budget bin.
I've got to also add Casper Ruud, because we're not going to be able to watch him in the grass court season because, he's going to be off playing golf and taking that.
Probably maybe he's on pat leave.
Maybe out in the pram, yeah.
But yeah, Casper Ruud, I think is in he's in a little bit of a dangerous spot, I think, because again, a player who's got great ability, won Madrid last year, I believe, against Jack Draper. So got some ranking points to defend coming up. So I think I've got eyes on him. Yeah, I'm trying to think anyone else from the women's side. Maybe Mira Andreeva, just because again, not in the greatest of form at the moment. And yeah, gonna be a bit of a testing time, I think, for her.
Might find it difficult to find her clay legs. Is that what you're thinking?
Yes, I had her down as someone who was going to have a struggling clay season, and I also put Lois Boisson down for having a difficult clay season because she did so well last
big
year.
ranking drop.
Just difficult season. She's not played this year, has she?
Yeah, I don't think she is going to be able to, obviously reach the same height, sadly. So, yeah.
I think that's very fair.
Chris, anyone that you think is going to majorly struggle?
I mean, I know that Musetti has a lot of points to defend, an awful lot of points. He played some incredible matches. And I remember asking him in press about it. He said he never thought he'd have a clay season like he had leading into Paris. So I think there's going to be a big question mark there as to if he can step up and play as well as he did. I also, Osaka's got some big points to defend. She's got the 125 title that she picked up was it St. Malo previously. So I'm also thinking maybe she might be finding it a bit difficult generally to find her form. So
I think she's struggling to find motivation based on some of her.
The quotes haven't been great, have they? Yeah.
And Joel, any more from you? Anyone struggling?
Well, I'm thinking Taylor Fritz. He's already, I think, dropped out of. I think he was scheduled to play this week. I think in Houston, he's dropped out.
Out of Monte Carlo as well, yeah.
Out of Monte Carlo. I mean, he's just having these injuries with his knee. It's not been, it's not been great for him recently. I feel like he's been playing not at 100%, and clay is not a great surface to be going on to for your knees. So I think it's going to be quite a tricky time for Taylor Fritz. And I've put Iga Swiatek in there.
You don't have faith in Francisco Roy.
You had to jump on the Swiatek bandwagon. You saw what happened at Wimbledon.
That is true. It is interesting. I think when the pressure is off Swiatek, there's an argument to say that is when she is at her most dangerous. And the fact that she's now number 4 in the rankings, it might motivate her even more. So
she wants her title
to be proved
back.
wrong.
Yeah,
she's won it 4 times, Roland Garros. So we know she can do it. I think it's 4 times, isn't it?
It is 4 times, yeah.
It is. Okay, what about bold prediction quickly for the clay season?
Oh, goodness. I've gone Darderi to make the semis of the French Open. And
Darderi?
Yes, I believe that will happen.
Baez to reach the final?
Yes, I believe that will also happen. And I said Svitolina wins in Paris as a bold prediction.
That would be nice.
I would love that. I really would. So I'm willing it with my bold prediction. I hope a Madison Keys bold prediction happens this time, but who knows?
I went for the fact we won't have a Sinner Alcaraz final in Paris.
Oh.
Who do you think?
Who...
Oh, actually, no.
Well, maybe she'll reveal as time goes on.
I don't know. It could be Djokovic. It could be a first-time finalist. Could be Jaume Munar. Haven't said his name today.
Munar. It's been a while since we've said his name on the pod. Yeah, recovering well, I think.
It's going out of favour. Yeah. What about yourself, Joel? Anything rogue?
I've got Jannik Sinner doesn't drop a set until the French Open. As my bold prediction.
Plausible.
I mean, is that bold? You love this. You're like Jannik Sinner does the sunshine double. I'm like, that seems quite likely.
My real bold prediction is Naomi Osaka's going to defend her San Melo 125 title.
Honestly, she might win Rouen as well. Who knows?
Yeah. I'm looking forward to her outfit. Let's see what she brings. Okay. And what about our champions? So we've got Monte Carlo for the men. We've got Madrid and Rome for both, and then obviously Roland Garros. So
who is playing Monte Carlo? Are we expecting Sinner and Alcaraz at Monte Carlo?
Sinner is very much a Monte Carlo player. Alcaraz tends to play it as well.
Okay.
I think it's some of the middle of the bunch might not be there because I've gone for Sinner winning Monte Carlo. Madrid, Alcaraz is going to win because he's practicing in his favourite football stadium.
In the Bernabeu, yeah.
Yes, exactly. And then I've got Sinner winning Rome at home because he got close last year and he hadn't even been playing tennis competitively at that point. So that's what I've gone for the men.
I've gone for the same as you. I think Alcaraz will get... Yeah, I think Alcaraz will get the Madrid one because often the winner of that is different because of the altitude in Madrid anyway. And I think the fact that I think they're going to both win their home events.
You don't always play them all, do you, either?
No, exactly. So we'll see. Could see the likes of, I don't know, Zverev. He's done quite well in Madrid before. He could pick one up. And for the women, I've gone Sabalenka in Madrid and Rybakina in Rome.
Oh, what have I gone for? I've gone Sabalenka Madrid. She does well there. And I've gone for Coco Gauff in Rome. So Joel, please tell us that you haven't gone Sinner and Sabalenka for everything.
It's hard not to.
Oh,
But I've got Jannik Sinner for Monte Carlo. I've gone Rybakina in Madrid.
Big serving, yeah.
Yeah, big serving, altitude. I think I've got Zverev as well for Madrid. I think he could do quite well. And then Rome is interesting. I've just put Novak Djokovic and Iga Swiatek.
Oh, I like that.
Tasty.
That would be good, yeah. You're back on the Swiatek. Having
just went from
literally just
5
jumped
minutes
off
later.
She's
It wasn't
going to find
leaving
her
the
clay legs
station.
by Rome.
Yes. Okay.
Yes. Fair play.
That's how loaded the Stuttgart draw is.
Yeah.
So who's winning Roland Garros then? I've gone for Jannik Sinner.
Same.
And I've gone for Victoria Mboko picking up a maiden slam.
Not a bad guess.
Not mentioned her today, but I just think often it's players.
Yeah, she did qualify
on
previously.
The periphery, and she might just go and do it.
I actually went very boring, Joel. Sabalenka
It's got
Sinner.
to be. Yeah, it's just got to be. Like, I just can't imagine Sabalenka playing so well and so dominantly.
Oh, this is going to age badly.
The thing is, Joel, she's got
This
so
is
many
gonna be
finals
reposted.
and not won them.
She has.
She can lose to anybody.
I feel like she's answered her critics though in the Sunshine.
How? She's got one Grand Slam title at the moment.
Just with like
current
responding,
holding,
defeating Rybakina, saving match point. Feel like she was composed in dicey situations. So I've gone Sinner and Sabalenka as well.
Okay, interesting.
Boring, but I think it to be expected, but also a little bit unexpected. I mean, Carlos Alcaraz, I don't know. Feel like the pressure is on him. The ranking points certainly are.
Yeah, I'm sticking with my guns though. I thought Sinner was going to win the first 2 titles of the year, and then Alcaraz would pick up Wimbledon, US Open. So I've kind of not really gone off that based on what we've seen so far. But I do think we talked about it earlier. Who's going to be the number one at the end of the clay season?
Sinner.
I think we clean sweep Sinner.
Be Jannik Sinner.
Yeah,
the numbers are in his favour.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listeners, let us know. Do you agree with what we've just said there? I mean, lots can change.
Even Joel's answers changed as we went through.
5 minutes apart, they can change.
Oh, I forgot about Bianca Andreescu. That's my
dark horse. Yeah, very good.
Nice. Well, let us know. But yeah, we've got 5 tournaments happening this week, so we'll be back next week to round all of those up. Lots and lots happening. I'm particularly looking forward to Charleston. I think that's always a fun one. I quite like a bit of Charleston.
Jessica Pegula champion incoming is all I say. Right, listeners, we're going to wrap it up there at Tennis Weekly HQ for our latest tour catch-up brought to you by Babolat. We hope you've enjoyed the ride with us. Remember to subscribe so you don't miss a moment of ATP and WTA action as we head into the clay swing. All aboard towards Roland Garros. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and all your favorite podcasting platforms out there.
And if you love what you're hearing, then be sure to leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify and hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube.
Let us know what you think about our predictions. You can do that on social media. You can do that on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, X, and Threads. The handle for all of those is Tennis Weekly Pod. Or if you'd like to get in touch with us, to drop us a mailbag, the email is tennisweeklypod@gmail.com or visit our website, tennisweekly.co.uk.
And we'll be back next week for our first clay catch-up of the season. But as always, until then, it's goodbye from Kim.
Goodbye.
It's goodbye from Chris.
Goodbye.
And it's goodbye from me. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time on Tennis Weekly.